To that point, it doesn't seem like, based on this lawsuit, that this was a he said, she said. It seemed like everyone in this department, or almost everyone who interacted with Bryan Kohberger on this university campus, felt some sort of way about him, and that way wasn't good. You've handled wrongful death lawsuits before. How strong of a case do you think these families have?
From what I've seen in the complaint and what we've heard surrounding it, it's an incredibly strong case, and it's just going to get even stronger as it proceeds onward in what we call discovery. When they get information from the other side, they get to sit down, have people sit down for sworn depositions. You know that the family's lawyers are going to dig into every corner of this, try to figure out where everything fell apart, why the university wasn't, according to them, engaged in protecting these children rather than protecting Kohberger. And so it's just, I mean, it's really heartbreaking to see these claims and realize that, according to the victims' families, the university had so many opportunities to step in, so many chances to get on top of Kohberger in the sense of, we're watching you, you're a problem, you've had so many complaints. And the fact that they didn't is going to be a key element of the lawsuit. But they've got so much information here, and it's really damning for WSU. Really, really tough for that university to come back from this.
And WSU eventually did terminate Kohberger's employment in December. Obviously, that was too late. It was a month after those murders. What do you think WSU's best defense is here? Do you think that they could say, hey, we did eventually fire him? Or do you think that's more in favor of the plaintiff? What does their defense look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, the defense is going to have to be somewhere this fell apart, and we've got to figure out where it was. And, the standard defense is, well, we did everything we could, and no one could have predicted that Kohberger would do this. But that's the problem, is the plaintiffs, the victims' families are saying, yes, you could have predicted this. Because, first of all, a lot of this information was coming from a lot of the complaints were coming from the criminal justice people, the criminal justice department. This was not just people who had no connection or no experience with the court system and with law enforcement. These were people who knew what they were talking about. And even apart from that, just the regular complaints about him should have been more than enough to generate some type of response. So it's a tough case for the university to defend, to say, well, we were incompetent and inept for these reasons. That doesn't fly in front of a jury.
And I want to read a statement from the family's lawyers. This is what they said. The victims' families have come together with a shared purpose to seek transparency, accountability, and meaningful reform. They also added this. This effort is not about vengeance or speculation. This is about ensuring that institutions entrusted with the safety of young people take threats seriously and act decisively when warning signs are present. What precedent do you think this lawsuit is going to set?
Well, again, it's the family's effort, and that's what they're saying is obviously what they believe, which is that they want to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else's family again. They're also seeking monetary damages, which is how our judicial system handles, situations like this. How do you compensate for the loss of these four really lovely, sweet young people at the hands of a brutal, killer? So the family's saying, on the one hand, university, you need to compensate us for what you did, what you didn't do, but we also want to ensure that there's attention paid to how incompetent or how failed the university's response was. So they're trying to seek justice. Again, they had the Kohberger criminal case, didn't go to trial. He did plead guilty, locked up for the rest of his life. But there may be some in those victims' families who say, we can't just stop with Kohberger. There was a systemic fault here at the university that let this happen, and we want to make sure that never happens again.